Normandy, June 1944. A Bren gun team from the 3rd Infantry Division is dug into a hedgerow near Caen, pouring fire into a German counterattack. The gun has been firing in short, disciplined bursts for almost 4 minutes, an eternity for an air-cooled light machine gun. Then, without a word of command, the number 2 on the gun reaches forward, flicks a catch on the right side of the receiver, and slides the barrel clean out of the weapon. 6 seconds later, a spare barrel, carried cool and ready in a canvas sleeve on his back until he was locked home. The gun never stops firing for more than a heartbeat. To the advancing German infantry, it must have looked as though the weapon simply refused to overheat. On paper, none of this should have mattered. The Bren was, by 1944 standards, a comparatively modest weapon. A 303-inch bolt action-era cartridge, a 30-round curved box magazine that, in practice, held 28 or 29 rounds, and a cyclic rate of only 500 rounds per minute, barely a third of the rate coughed out by the German MG-42 across the same hedgerows. British ordnance officers who compared the two weapons on a specification sheet in 1943 could be forgiven for concluding the Bren was outclassed in every meaningful category. Yet it was precisely the feature that looked like an inconvenience. A barrel that had to be swapped by hand again and again, sometimes a dozen times in a single engagement, that gave British sections a weapon they could trust to keep firing long after German guns had begun to fail. What looked like a limitation on a specification sheet was, in the mud and heat of actual combat, the Bren's single greatest advantage. German small arms doctrine, refined through the interwar years and hammered into shape by the Wehrmacht's Maschinengewehr schools, rested on a simple proposition. A section's firepower was a function of its cyclic rate. The MG-34, and later the MG-42 introduced in 1942, were built around this idea. The MG-42's stamped steel construction and roller-locking bolt allowed a cyclic rate of 1,200 rounds per minute, so fast that Allied soldiers nicknamed it Hitler's buzzsaw, because individual shots blurred into a single tearing sound, closer to ripping canvas than to gunfire. German field manuals treated the machine gun, not the rifleman, as the true center of the infantry section. Riflemen existed chiefly to protect and resupply the gun. On paper, a British section built around a single Bren, firing at less than half the MG-42's rate, was bringing a knife to a chainsaw fight. Critics within the British Army itself voiced the same concern. Trials at the Small Arms School Corps in the late 1930s noted that the Bren's rate of fire was markedly inferior to comparable German and Czech designs. The Bren was, after all, a direct descendant of the Czechoslovak ZB Version 26, adapted at Enfield and renamed for Brno and Enfield combined. Some officers argued for a redesign to push the cyclic rate closer to 700 or 800 rounds per minute to keep pace with continental trends. Standard military thinking in the years before the war emphasized volume of fire as the decisive variable in a section-level engagement, and by that measure, the Bren was already behind before a single round had been fired in anger. The secret was in what the Bren was actually built to survive, not how fast it could empty a magazine. The MG-42's blistering rate of fire came at a direct cost, barrel life. Firing at 1,200 rounds per minute generated heat so quickly that a standard MG-42 barrel needed changing after roughly 250 rounds of sustained fire, sometimes as few as 150 in hot climates or poor quality ammunition, or the barrel would begin to droop, lose accuracy, and in extreme cases, cook off a round left in the chamber. German doctrine accounted for this with a 2-man barrel change drill that, when executed by a well-trained crew, took around 6 to 10 seconds. But it required gloves, a purpose-made asbestos mitt or cloth, and, critically, a second barrel that was itself not already hot from earlier changes. The Bren, firing at a modest 500 rounds per minute through a heavier barrel with deeper cooling fins machined into the muzzle end, could sustain fire for considerably longer between changes, typically 10 to 12 magazines or roughly 300 rounds, fired in the tactical bursts of 4 to 5 rounds that British training doctrine insisted upon, before the barrel needed swapping at all. And when it did need swapping, the Bren's design made the process almost absurdly simple by comparison. A catch on the right-hand side of the receiver, forward of the magazine housing, released the barrel assembly complete with its own carrying handle, already fitted. There was no glove to fumble for, no cloth wrap to search a webbing pouch for. The handle was part of the barrel itself, folded flat against the barrel's underside until needed. A trained number 2 could pull a spent barrel and seat a fresh one in under 6 seconds, and could do so lying prone in the dark, or with his sights still roughly on target throughout. What actually mattered in a firefight was not the peak rate of fire in the first 3 seconds, but the average rate of effective fire, sustained across 3 or 4 minutes of continuous contact. A German gun team firing at 1,200 rounds per minute, but forced into a fumbling change every 250 rounds, sometimes losing 20 or 30 seconds to a dropped mitt or a jammed hot barrel, could, in practice, deliver less useful fire over a 5-minute engagement than a Bren team that never truly stopped. British small-arms school trials in 1942 recorded sustained fire tests in which Bren teams delivered continuous suppressive fire for over 8 minutes, with barrel changes averaging under 10 seconds each, compared with captured German training data showing MG-34 and MG-42 teams frequently losing between 15 and 45 seconds per change under field rather than parade ground conditions. At Cassino in early 1944, the 2nd Battalion, King's Own Yorkshire Light Infantry, reported an action in which a single Bren team held a forward position against repeated German probes for close to 40 minutes, changing barrels 9 times in that period, according to the battalion's after-action report. The report noted that the gun was never silent for more than the time needed to change the barrel, and that captured German soldiers from the opposing unit, interrogated afterwards, believed they had been facing at least 2 machine guns, not 1, because the volume of sustained fire never tapered off, the way a single-barrel MG-42 team's fire typically did once the crew began favoring shorter bursts to conserve an overheating barrel. German infantry manuals themselves inadvertently confirmed the problem. A 1943 Wehrmacht training circular, recovered by British intelligence after the fighting in Sicily, cautioned MG-42 crews against unnecessary sustained fire and urged strict adherence to the 3 to 5 second burst discipline, specifically because barrels overheated so quickly under combat conditions that crews without a disciplined rhythm could render their own weapon useless within 2 or 3 minutes of contact. This was the same discipline the Germans needed to impose by order that the Bren achieved simply by design. A Bren gunner firing wildly and burning through magazines quickly still had a weapon that could be brought back into action within seconds, whereas an MG-42 crew that broke discipline could be left with a warped barrel and no spare close to hand. At Medenine in Tunisia in March 1943, during the German counterattack that Rommel himself later described as a costly failure, British anti-tank and infantry positions reported Bren guns firing in near-continuous support of forward positions for periods exceeding half an hour without loss of effective fire, drawing directly on the barrel change drill practiced obsessively in training. One section commander's report noted simply that the gun did not fail us, though the ground was hard and hot. The sustained fire from what should, on paper, have been the slower and weaker weapon contributed to blunting an attack by elements of the 15th Panzer Division against a numerically inferior British screen. This wasn't an accident of Enfield's tooling, nor a happy byproduct of adapting the Czech ZB design. It was a deliberate design philosophy, and the difference shows in the details. The Bren's barrel change handle was integral and could not be misplaced, unlike the separate asbestos mitts issued to German crews, which soldiers routinely reported losing, leaving behind, or simply not having to hand when the moment came. The Bren's gas regulator, a simple rotating collar beneath the barrel with 4 numbered settings, allowed a gunner to compensate for fouling or cold weather by adjusting gas flow with a bullet tip or the edge of a coin, without tools, a 5-second fix in the field for a fault that could otherwise slow the gun's cycling. The weapon's weight, at just over 22 pounds loaded, was heavier than many rivals, but that mass itself damped recoil and kept the barrel steadier across a burst, feeding directly into the accuracy that let British doctrine favor short, aimed bursts over the German preference for sustained streams of fire. Commanders were not clinging to tradition when they built section tactics around a 500 round per minute gun rather than pushing for something faster. They understood, from trials and from Flanders and North Africa alike, that a weapon's real rate of fire is not what it can achieve in the first burst, but what it can sustain across an engagement whose length nobody can predict in advance. Battlefields are not proving grounds. They are hot, filthy, chaotic places, where a dropped mitt, a missing spare barrel, or 30 seconds of silence at the wrong moment can cost a position. What looked like a weakness on a comparison chart, a barrel change by hand, a rate of fire less than half the enemy's, was, to the men lying behind the gun, the single reason it kept talking, when the German gun across the field had gone quiet. The secret was never in raw speed. It was in a machine built to be brought back into the fight again and again, in under 6 seconds, by tired men in the dark, without a single tool in their hands.